I almost got a line tattooed on my body. Not because it inspired me or it looked cool, it genuinely burnt in me. After reading that line, I had to stop that book right then and there and come back to it the next day because it was just so magnetic and so powerful. The scary part is, I think today, when I have switched from reading to books to listening to them, this line would have simply passed me by if I had listened to it. There wouldn't have been any pauses, there wouldn't have been any critical thinking, it would have just gone by because I'm being productive these days by multitasking while I'm listening to audiobooks. I often think now how many life-changing books have I let pass me by simply because of how I consume them, and no. It's not because I'm reading them faster. Apps like Audible and Storygraph have changed our culture of reading. In this video, I want to discuss now what we consider reading today, what we have lost and gained from it, and how we can fix it. And in the end, if you're interested, I'm gonna reveal the line that I almost got inked on my body. The whole point of reading is to illuminate thought. That's it. It's not so that you become more knowledgeable, it is help you to develop critical thinking. When you look at the great thinkers like Aristotle, Socrates, or let's say Virginia Woolf, these people spent hours of their day just thinking, deep thinking, no distractions, no 2x the speed. They just sat with a thought for hours. And that seems impossible now. You can't even sit with a sentence now. We're trying to read through books as if we are trying to check off items of a to-do list. It's not just killing our focus, it is literally rewiring your brain. It is a form of brain rot, but simply because it is associated with books, we don't closely analyze it. But here's the thing, reading is not the same as listening. Which brings me to my second point. When you read, your brain slows down. It allows for thought to process, for thought to occur, for you to think about that thought. And that is how neural connections work. They fire and they connect with other neurons with pre-existing memories. But when you're reading at such a fast pace that you simply cannot think, your brain has no processing speed, you will not form that neural connection. That is why people often say that reading physically changes your mind, because it does. That does not happen with listening. But now we have turned reading into a background activity while doing something else in the name of productivity. And people often argue that it makes sense to slow down when reading literature and philosophy, but I completely disagree. I think that goes to non-fiction as well. Let's say you've read 50 self-help books this year. If you have not turned those books into actionable points, you're simply a Word document sitting on a desktop. You have all the information, you have not changed anything in your life. It has been a complete waste. Like today, as a culture, this has become so normalized that we don't even think about it. Imagine if we started watching movies, we went to the theater, we paid money to watch a movie at twice or thrice the speed. I mean, people would think that's crazy because cinema is an art. There is a rhythm, there are pauses, there is delivery to a dialogue, and that has to be preserved. But for some reason, when we read, we do not compare this analogy, and we think it's crazy. This very seamlessly transitions into point 3, Storygraph and the gamification trap. Now don't get me wrong, I love Storygraph. These starts, the pie charts, everything. It was literally built for someone who loves reading. And the end of year wrap up, that is equivalent to the songs in the Spotify wrap up. I love it. But here's the problem. When your focus becomes not illumination and becomes the stat, then you're focusing more on the quantity that you read and not the quality. When it starts being about the number of books you read and not what the book gave you, you have completely lost the purpose of reading in itself. The very point of reading is to understand the state of being, to understand human experience, and to increase your emotional intelligence. Stats don't do that. You might have read 50 books a year, but did it really change you as a person? Moving on to the next point. Now I know it seems like I might be against these apps, but that's not the case. I'm not anti-apps, I'm just pro-depth. Audible has made reading accessible to everyone. And in this modern life, finding half an hour dedicated just for reading cannot be physically challenging, in the sense we all definitely have 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, that can rack up to 30 minutes. Full 9 to 5 job and doing your responsibilities and other chores of the household, I think it becomes mentally draining to commit to anything else. So we don't have the mental space to commit to anything else. And that is where apps like Audible are great. If you rack up 1 minute here, 1 minute there, 3 minutes here, you would be so surprised how much you have actually read in a day. And they're great. They are also accessible to a lot of other people who are not able to read books. And that is real life. That's true. You will not always have the same energy, and that's okay. I understand that. But my only problem is that when people compare this to the real experience, and in fact, it is not comparable in any way. Let's not fool ourselves that speed is equivalent to depth, because it's not. And I'm all for convenience. If something makes your life more convenient, you should try it. But I don't think it should come at the cost of connection. Now, recently, one thing has been happening to me quite a lot. Anytime a friend or a YouTuber recommends a book that they swear by, that they rate as 5 stars, I've been having trouble connecting to it. I finished the book and I think, is that it? And I can understand that people have different taste and everyone has their preferences. But it has happened to me one too many times that I'm starting to think, have I lost the ability to read? Because it is an ability, it is a skill. Have I lost the ability to empathize with other people's experience, to empathize with the human experience, innate human experience? I made this video because I genuinely am troubled by how I have been behaving and how my thought process have been behaving when I am reading a book. And I am seeing this shift in culture and what it has taken away from us. So slow down, sit with a sentence, sit with it long enough to haunt you, sit with it long enough to change you. Reading is one of those things that is a joy that keeps on giving. You never get bored of it. Seeing that I am not enjoying something that I so deeply loved, that is part of my identity, it is concerning to me. So it's just a reminder to anyone else out there who's feeling like me as well, because I'm sure I'm not the only one. Now, as promised, the line that I'm going to talk about, and I'm sure, when I'm done finishing telling you this book, I will get goosebumps. It has been 5 years since I read this line and it still has that effect on me. I read this line in a book called Beekeeper of Aleppo. It is set in an active war zone in Syria. So in this particular scene, people are made to stand on the edge of a riverbank and the terrorists have shot these people. One of these people that they have shot is a 10-year-old boy named Salim. When Salim's parents found his body, his father takes his body to the morgue to be cremated. So the doctor present there asks his father to write the name of the boy and cause of his death as he dictates him. So he takes a pencil, like so small, so broken, he can't even hold it in his hand, but he tries to scribble on a piece of paper with whatever he has left. He writes, "Name, my beautiful boy, cause of death, this broken world." Anyway, stranger on the internet, I hope that helped. Bye-bye.